Hey everyone, Grant Langston here, and we are out in the desert. As you can see, got two KTMs next to me. Thanks to KTM for loaning us the bikes. So we came out here with the guys from Upshift to really put them through the tests and see how these 2020 machines go. So on the one side here, this is the 350, and on the other side of me is the 500. Now the 500 I actually have a fair amount of experience with. I own a 2017 500 EXC, so riding that quite a bit, it allowed me to feel the changes and the difference on this 2020. When I got on the bike, I felt the cockpit where you sit feels a little more narrower. These bikes used to be tall, and they're still kind of tall, but they've changed it a little bit, so you can touch the ground, and the seat's a little more comfortable. So still got that KTM feel, but they've been able to give people more what they wanted. A lot of guys were worried about the bulkiness. So new chassis, even the way everything's streamlined, it really makes you feel like you're one with the bike. Another thing that I noticed when I rode away immediately was the power. They've said they've worked hard on increasing horsepower and torque. They've done that. It was clearly a change, an improvement. The bike stock has a lot of power, and it's very impressive. The handling has also come a long way, in my opinion. They've always made, the EXCs a little bit softer because, yes, it's a dual sport bike. And you're trying to set it up for a wide range of riders, riding ability, as well as riders ride different terrain. You might be in the desert, you might be in the jungle, you might be in open land. So trying to find that happy medium is pretty tough. You could be 250 pounds, you could be 130. That affects things. But what they've done with the suspension is, before when it was soft, it felt like it was soft initially, but it never really held up. It would sort of blow through, so it was soft the whole stroke. It's got more of a progressive feel now. It's still got that softness in the beginning, but it doesn't blow through as hard. So I really like what they've done. We were able to attack even a few jumps, some sand washes, and through the sand, the rollers, the suspension works phenomenally well. Really love it. Then I had a chance to get on the 350. This was new to me. So I was expecting to, have a little less power and maybe not be disappointed, but just feel like it's a lighter but slower bike. Well, I have to say it took me by surprise. The 350 has a lot of power as well. KTM have basically eliminated their 250 and 450 off-road machines, which I personally think was a good call. They had too many ranges and it got people confused. But with the 350, what they've worked hard at doing is getting the power to feel more like a 450 and keeping that handling and that lightweight feel of a 250. And I tell you what, they nailed it on the head with that one. The power is really good. The agility, just that little extra lightweight feel. When you're going through the twisties and little areas, you can feel it. And I have a feeling a lot of guys tend to go straight to the 500 because they think that's what they need. But I got a feeling a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised. If they get a chance to ride one of these, you got to do it, because this might actually be the bike for you. So some of the changes that have been made to these bikes over the years just make them better and easier to work on. So first of all, one of the things I really love is they've got the compression and the rebound on top of your forks. You don't need tools. It's very simple. You can just adjust it with your fingers. And I tell people, often riders get on their bike, they don't check the sag or play with the clickers. It's one of the easiest things you can do. It doesn't cost you anything. And if it doesn't work, go back. Just remember where you were and go back. But I love how they've made that very easy to work on. Their clamps, I think, have gotten better over the years. They've got the neck and bars, so if you fall, a little sturdier, less likely to bend. The ODI lock-on grips is a big saver for a lot of us who want to change grips. We're not messing with cutting and wiring and glue and all that nonsense. This makes it easy. If you don't like the grips, maybe they're a little firm, you can just go and get another set. Maybe they're softer. The headlight, they've improved that. That was something that used to bug me at night with the headlights. Were not that good. They've really come a long way. KTM also added a lithium ion battery, which is not only lighter, but it helps performance. The old batteries were heavy, they were bulky, they were often dead. Lighter and more reliable. And when you're out in the trails, that's what you want, reliability. So we've had a chance to ride these bikes for a couple days. And if I was to go and purchase one of these are a few things that I would do. One of the first things I would do, and I think most people feel the same way, is doing the wraparound hand guards. You get with the metal brace that goes to the bars. This is really good for just debris, brush. Zeta do the integrated LED lights, so you could also eliminate some of these, the bulky lights on the bike. And there again, if you fall or bump a tree, you're not going to injure your hand, you're not going to bend the bars as likely. So that's something I think most people do. It's sort of a given, and it's a very easy fix. For comfort, I would suggest a seat. Seat Concepts make great comfortable seats for these EXCs. The seat has gotten better over the years, but it used to be one of my pet peeves with the KTMs. They were just uncomfortable and they were kind of rounded. So it just wasn't comfortable after a long day riding. So that's an option. There's other companies as well, but they truly make a great one. The engine on these things are good, but a lot of times people do want to do something. I suggest a slip-on muffler. There's a couple companies that make a 50 state carb compliant. So you're still legal. It's lighter, looks better, better sound, maybe a little more performance, but you're not going to get a ton. But that's definitely an option. I think a lot of people like that as well. But there is something you can do to the motor, well, down in that area at least, that could help. A lot of riders these days have chosen to go with something like a Recluse. Depending on the riding, those can be a real lifesaver for, just for your average guy as well. Makes it easier, less likely to stall, and it gets you out of tough situations. So that's something to consider as well. I always say you want to protect your bike. You make an investment, it's a great bike. A lot of us hold on to our EXCs for many years. So let's protect it. Front disc guard for the brake. The Churbis and other companies make great ones. I suggest that because you go anywhere with rocks, if you just hit one rock and bend that front disc, it could cause you some issues when you're in the middle of nowhere. Same thing for the rear. KTM and other companies as well make really good rear disc covers. Same thing, protects the bike. Skid plate is a must. If you're riding on any terrain, at some point you're going to hook that bottom of your chassis. So do those things to protect your bikes. There's other things you can do as well. They've even got guards now that go around the engine casings. You can brace your radiator shrouds. Another thing that I like that's pretty cheap is the plastic covering for the swing arms. More and more guys using those now because when you ride over stuff, it just doesn't gouge the aluminum, keeps it nice and fresh. And finally, one of the things I would change as well is the tires. These stock tires, they're actually decent when we ride on harder terrain, but they're a little more of a street tire. When we hit some of the sand wash, yeah, the bike was floating a little bit, but a tire that I particularly love is the Dunlop 606. It's a DOT approved tire, so it's street legal, and it really does get good traction on the street, the dirt, and the sand. It's a well-rounded tire. I suggest having a look at those. All right, well, hopefully that helped you understand a little bit of some of the changes and the improvements on these bikes. Go to your local dealer, check them out. I'm telling you, you'll be impressed. But enough from me. We're cutting into our daylight and riding time, so I'm gonna hop on this and get the heck out of here. See ya.